Yo, what up, guys? Welcome to the video. This is a chapter review. We're reviewing chapter 1137 of One Piece. Well, we're just gonna read it, really. It's called Shamrock Takes the Stage. I wonder who the hell Shamrock is. I haven't read anything about this chapter. I heard there's a lot of interesting things that happen in regards to the Shanks, from what I understand. So here we have the chapter starts with a nice little cover spread of, I think, Yamato and uh Yamato and the little girl Kunoichi. I forgot her name. Please forgive me. Like looking into the secret hideout of some bandits, from what it looks like. You know, not bad. Nice little art, kind of decent. It's not too bad. I like it. Okay, so the chapter starts with Elbaf Quest Castle. In the 14 years since King Harold's death, no one has come near this castle. Okay, that's interesting. That's a I like how the castle is like at the very top, from what it looks like at the very top of the tree or of Yggdrasil, which is nice. So let's continue. So what's going on here? The door looks like it's been busted open. What happened to the guards? Nami then says, "What's something's wrong? It was broken from the inside. Why would the intruders do that?" Only one way to find out. Let's go. Of course, Luffy would want to just, hey, see broken door. Luffy would be like, hey, why don't we just go in there? Nothing bad's gonna happen. It's more or less Luffy's like, oh shit, it's adventure. Let's go. Maybe we'll get our ass kicked. The key. Where's the key? The damage looks recent. Okay. Something about a key, Luffy running inside the door, and recent damage, which we saw from the panel. Like you can see the door's been busted the hell open. Alright. Let's continue. Wait, this is unnerving. This place is huge. I can barely see the ceiling. This is way too vast to be walkable. Okay, so it's an unnerving sight because it looks like the castle has been basically busted open. Like everything's broken. My guess it has something to do with the mysterious figures and the cloaks that were in a recent chapter, an older chapter. I think the one previous to this. So we continue with Luffy basically asking Roto where the key is, and you know, I like how there's also this little a nice little panel of Nami sort of thanking Roto and Roto letting it go to his head. Really, Nami Tasso, because like she's happy that Roto's with them and protecting them, and then it's followed up by Luffy asking where the key is. I mean, I don't know why you would need the key if the door was busted open, so you just walked right in, but who knows? All right, let's continue. They're now traversing what seems to be like a bunch of bridges with like little holes, like in between with more tunnels. It looks like something out of like Elden Ring. If you guys played Elden Ring, I think I think it's called Storm Hunt Castle. Like the very first castle at the beginning of the game where you fight one of the tarnished, not the tarnished, one of the many children of Marika, uh the one of the horned ones. I forgot the name of Molrog, something like that. Where you find him. The area looks very reminiscent of that castle. So then they're basically saying, "Wow, what a castle! Being here is thrilling and terrifying. Everything's falling to pieces. Is the intruders' handiwork?" Okay, so they're basically noticing how this castle was not in this state. Whatever the intruders did, demolished everything. No, this is battle damage. That has been here ever since Loki killed King Harold. Okay, never mind. Apparently, this was here. They never. I guess the fuck. I guess they never decided to fix it? What? They chose not to fix the castle? They just left it in shambles after Loki murdered his father? Is he actually dead? I, I was under the assumption that he wasn't dead, or something happened, but it looks like Loki actually did kill him. There was a lot of theories in the community that Loki might have not killed his father, and that Loki's like this liar, kind of like Usopp. I don't think it's starting to seem like Loki's not like Usopp at all, which is, you know what, it's fine. He doesn't need to be Usopp. So he might not be Usopp's opponent. It seems this is some serious destructive power. Loki is a monster, and King Harold was renowned as a warrior. This damage was inevitable. Okay, so Zoro is like, whoa, there's a lot of, whoever did this was destructive. And Roto was like, yeah, no, Loki's a goddamn monster. He's really strong. And his dad is too, so this fight was obviously gonna tear up the whole building. Which, damn, what was their powers that they were able to do this much collateral damage to the castle, and no one wanted to fix it? They just left it like this. They just like, hey, nah, we're not gonna fix it. We're just gonna leave it like that. He's dead, so why would we fix the castle for the next in line? It could be, and they have, and from the previous chapter, if we remember, Hiruden is not the next in line. It's Loki, but because Loki killed the father, then there's no, I guess, new king. Which they're kingless currently. They haven't selected a new king, so I don't know how they're gonna go about that. What are their? What? They're so big, huh? This is scary. Are they? So, Nami's terrified from the thought of the fight, and Luffy, just by the sheer scale of the damage in the building, they're like, oh damn, they must have been really huge. And yeah, from we saw it from Loki being chained up, he is huge. I like how they mention Loki's name, and Luffy just does not make any association to meeting Loki previously. I guess he's like forgot. He's like, oh, Loki, you mean the guy that was chained up? I guess Luffy's playing buffoon. He's playing ignorance. Even then, it's not surprising. This is Luffy we're talking about, guys. He's probably he forgets faces easily. He nicked him because he does. He just gives people random nicknames because he forgets people easily. Not surprising, really not surprising. Okay, so we continue. They're now going through a fucking little passageway with a bunch of skulls on the ground and swords impalements. So it seems like there was a battleground. And now the perspective view makes it, the skulls seem smaller, but they're clearly the size of giants, so these are huge skulls. They say that this place is covered with giant skeletons, and then the castle, Roto says, the castle once had numerous guards. On the day, around 100 of them stood ready to kill Loki, but only one survived, Lord Jarul. After that tragedy happened, coming to the site was forbidden. Okay, so now that explains why they chose not to repair the building. I guess because it's a battleground, and I'm guessing in their culture, battlegrounds are forbidden to go, or either that, or look, they're just like, nah, it's taboo. It might be taboo. It's a den of vengeful spirits. Ah, okay, that makes sense. So to them, it's like the warriors are, because they died, I guess, dishonorably, they might be considered vengeful. Hey guys, look over here. This skull is enormous. And then Luffy holds onto a giant skull of a warrior with a horn. It says, then Roto explains, these belong to someone with ancient giant warrior blood. For those who don't know, ancient giant warrior blood is the ancient giants like the guy from Thriller Bark, Oars. And little oars too. Those are ancient giants, and so he's referencing that the people who had horns like that had ancient giant blood, and so they had horns coming out of their head. And you know, I like how Luffy's like, I wonder if he knew oars, and I like how we learned something new here. King Roto basically explains how King Harold, who was larger and who was probably the biggest giant out of all of them, he's making it sound, had horns, due to the ancient giant blood. And then they look at the portrait of him. He says, "Oh, look above you, how nostalgic. That's a portrait of King Harold, the man who tried to form peaceful bonds with the outside world, said to be Elbaf's strongest king. He sure looks strong." This dude looks absolutely menacing. Like, weird white beard with, like, that goes up but black, but he has a beard too, so he also has scars on his bald head. Those scars are apparently the where he removed his giant horns. He ripped out his giant horns. This guy is hardcore. Those scars on his head mark where his ancient horns were before he ripped them out. That's okay. This guy's next level, guys. Next level. Imagine ripping out your own horns. He believed the ancient giants were relics from a war-torn era. And then Luffy's like, "Whoa, he had horns?" And then we have a nice little panel of Zoro saying, "What conviction." This coming from the guy who was willing to cut off his own damn foot to to escape being trapped in Mr. Three's clay trap. Yeah, he would probably feel the conviction. On top of, taking the damn Luffy's pain too. That probably explains why Zoro's so, he's like, respect. After the king's death, the country fell into despair. Sadly, the one with the biggest grudge against Loki was naturally King Harold's other son, Hyruden. And then Luffy's like, "Whoa, seriously?" And then Nami's like, "Whoa, he's Loki's brother." I guess they didn't realize he was. And then Hiroto explains, "They have different mothers. Before marrying the queen, Hyruden was born to a different woman." Which makes sense. If we know anything about history and monarchies, a lot of the time, kings' children are often from different mothers, not always the same mother. That's just how it works. That's not surprising. However, Elbaf would never have recognized Hyruden's mother as the queen in any case. So he's basically saying they won't recognize her because she was born from in a different giant country. Or, after Nami asked why. And then Zoro was like, "Hey, why does that matter, right? You guys are both giants, right?" And this right here is interesting because this is basically telling us that there are more than one country of giants. So it's essentially telling me that Saul, despite him saying he's never been to Elbaf, he's probably from a different country of giants that were not very war related, I guess. That's interesting. So there's more than one country of giants. Okay, I wonder what those countries are. I guess this is playing off like how there's more than one Scandinavian country, if we think about it, like Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, and Greenland. They're all countries of Scandinavian blood, but they're all also different tribes. Tribes are considered different countries of Scandinavian, or I guess in this case. So I like that parallel. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is there's a nice parallel to the actual real life world where there's the more than one country had descendancies of Vikings and Nordic blood in them, which this is basically saying, yeah, we're not the only Nordic country or country of giants in this case in the world. They were both giants, but you can't talk when you humans kill each other all the time over that. And then I like how he's like, Zoro's like, "Yeah, you're right, yeah." So yeah, he's like, basically, so what do you guys can't complain, you guys do the same thing. Essentially, Roto is calling them out, right? So then we continue, right? Nami says, "Seems you giants can be just as bigoted as anybody else." And then like how Roto's like, "Not everyone is as pure as you, Namitaso." And then Nami's like, "Ew, don't suck up to me, trash." Yeah. And then Roto's like, "Huh? What do you mean, don't suck up to you?" I guess Nami doesn't really like Roto being all goody and friendly with her, as she is with Sanji. She tolerates Sanji, but so then Zoro gets inclined well, if Hyrudin is of tainted blood, why did you join his crew? And then we have a nice little flashback of Roto remembering. He goes, well, and then he remembers him being bullied as a kid, and Hyrudin realizing he had a talent for building charts, and asks Hyrudin to be friends. And Hyrudin asks him to be friends, and because Roto was a very introverted child, he says friends, and he gets excited and decides to follow him. He says he was always so earnest and straightforward, unlike me. He never lived in the castle growing up. His father may have been king, but his mother was ostracized. He endured a lot, and still said this: one day, I'm gonna unite all the giant tribes. I'm gonna be the king of the giants. Woo! You're the man that can do it, Hyrudin. Essentially, Hyrudin is like, I guess they're paralleling him with Luffy here, essentially saying he has a similar dream to Luffy, but which also makes sense why he was so, keen on following Luffy, because he's like, oh, this man wants to be the king of the pirates, like I want to be the king of the giants. And so he's like, my guess is like, we're two birds in a pod, let's follow him. But Roto basically wants to make his dream come true of uniting all giant tribes. Luffy then says, hey, this way, I found some knocked out giants. Luffy basically alerts everybody, interrupting the nice little chat that Nami, Zoro, and Roto were having. We continue. No, then the scene changes to the realm of the dead, or hell, in Nordic mythology. Do you finally understand? Poof, poof. This is only because I can't move from the spot. We are offering you a chance at divinity. Most die screaming in vain, just for the slightest chance to attain such honor. The result would be the same even if you could, you commoner. So it looks like they're attacking, the intruders are attacking Loki, which is crazy. Also, this lady has long ass legs. What the fuck? Is she on stilts? What is this? Or can she stretch? This is weird, because in the photos that we've seen of her previous panels and previous chapters, she didn't have long ass feet like this. So is this akin to her ability? It looks like she's being wrapped around by arrows, which is interesting. Then arrows are coming out of the ground, and then smack Loki in the face. Crap, this again. So she's uppercutting, smacking him. And then he says, so you're gonna let loose a full speed kick to the right side of my face, huh? It'll turn me sideways, then you'll uppercut me. Thanks for giving me the notice. Because the arrows are sort of pointing what she's gonna do, or alerting what she's gonna do to him. And then she says, these arrows show me the trajectory of my future. The outcome isn't unavoidable. Only I can stop it before it happens. I guess she hasn't met someone that's fast enough to dodge her moves, but that's a crazy ability. So her arrows are, I guess, signatures of the future and how she can move quicker. That's wild. Alright, let's continue. Just say the word, Loki. Will you join the God's Knights? And then Loki's like, I refuse, you fool! So they're basically beating up Loki because he doesn't want to join the God's Knights. She kicks him in the face and does all the moves that Loki said she was going to do to him. She slams his face to the right, uppercuts him, the 9 Mile, everything that was prophesized according to her happened. Then we move. Loki is completely beat up after being uppercut, and then I think the bears around him are like trying to protect Loki, but they get stabbed and beat up. And then Loki says, as he's being beat up, and he's like, damn it, you'll pay for this, stop, enough already, because he's getting tired of getting beat up. And then she says, well, will you become a God's Knight? So why do they want him to be a God's Knight so bad? And that's strange. So they basically, Loki's a commoner, but I guess because he is of royal giant blood, he qualifies to be a God's Knight. But this is strange. So they decided to come. We now know why they decided to come to Elbaf, the God's Knights came to Elbaf to recruit new members. Does that indicate a shortage of members, or what? I don't know. I think it might indicate that they have low members and that they need more guys. Maybe they're not as strong as we thought, or maybe they are. I don't know. But if they got Loki in their ranks, that'd be a terrifying addition. Yeah, so he gets beat up. Next panel. Bleh. Yeah! He screams in pain even more after being tortured continuously. So basically, this lady is heavily bleeding because she's getting tired of beating his ass over and over again, trying to get him. And then the guy that looks like Shang says, "It's all right, Gunko." Okay, so we figured out her name. Her name is Gunko. Interesting. That's not a very cute name at all. Or even a very, like, her name is, I don't know if her name's tied to her power at all. Wait, Gunko. Maybe. I don't know. But I think her name has something to do with arrows. Final slide. Let me zoom in here. Okay. Let's change our tact. Our tact. So he's like, okay, tell her to stop. He says, let's change our our plan. Contact Mary Joa, right? And then he says, not every piece ends up being useful. I wanted to go about this more shrewdly, but I guess not. So I guess he realizes that wait, what? Captain of God's Knights, World Noble, Figureland Shamrock. Okay, so we figured out it wasn't Shanks, even though he looks like it. He has long hair, like very long braided hair, like a noble would have. And his name is Shamrock. Okay. I guess you can tell that Shanks definitely wasn't raised by Figureland, because I don't think they would have named him Shanks, but his brother is named Shamrock. He says, and then the girl Gunko responds, not yielding even if it means death. Do we chalk this up to faith? I guess she's saying she's disappointed that Loki refuses to give up. And it says, and then we have a nice little panel. It says, long ago, the savage warriors of Elbaf dominated the new world. The world government will bring them to heel no matter what. So it seems that they decided to come. Shamrock and Gunko decided to come. It looks like to, I guess, take the Giants' power for themselves. I think they thought if they can get Loki on their side in joining the God's Knights, that then the rest of the Giants will follow suit, because they're like, oh, our rightful heir joined the God's Knights. We have to follow him now. But I don't know. Either they don't know that, Loki's considered a traitor, or they do or don't care. But either way, they're doing this for power, and they're doing this to gain the Giants on their side. Which is something I never expected. But that's interesting. That's very interesting. Well, yeah, that's the end of the chapter. We found out that the guy wasn't Shanks all along. He did have a twin brother. His name is Shamrock. He has long, beautiful, luscious hair that's braided and is dressed up like a commodore or some kind of noble. Then we have Gunko in a nice little steampunkish-esque design with her hands large, that her hands grow. Her powers are weird. It says here that she has the arrow fruit, which I don't know what abilities that has. Maybe in an SBS, Oda will tell us. But there's that. Yeah, Shamrock is confirmed to be Elder Figureland Garling's son. So that means, because Shamrock is Garling's son, that also means Shanks is Garling's son. So that means, I'm guessing the reason why Shanks was in that box was because he was there during God's Valley, which is where he was found. Figureland was there, so that means Figureland was married at the same time, and he had twins, and one of his kids happened to end up in a fucking treasure box. Or because they were being attacked, his wife stuffed one of their children in a treasure box and then they forgot about him. I don't know what happened with Shanks, but hey, we figured out who Garling is. Who this Figureland was. It was who this this Shanks imposter was Shank's brother Shamrock, which is that's not surprising. We kind of already said that was going to be the case, but overall, I'd say this chapter had a lot of info, a lot of interesting lore, world building. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. Great chapter. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you guys want future chapter reviews of One Piece or any other manga aside from One Piece, like and subscribe to the video. Adios.